Happy Solar Sunday, everybody. It's Jamie Green, the Solar Queen, and Happy New Year to all of you. I already feel so much better about this new year and the things that are on the horizons for all of us. So I hope that you all had a wonderful new year with your family and with your friends, and that you're all staying safe and everything. So yeah. So this Solar Sunday, last week I think I came on and I did this exciting announcement that the COVID relief bill was signed and passed, and the president signed it into law and everything. So what that means for you as a homeowner or business, if you're interested in solar, is that 26% of the cost of your solar can be covered in the investment tax credit or the solar tax credit for your home or for your business. So this is excellent news. I'm really excited. I got all the emails from all of the lenders saying, yay, 26% federal tax credit is applicable and ready to go. It's all live and everything for homeowners who are and business owners who are interested in solar. So good evening, Randy. I think you're in Florida. And you sent me a message. We need to connect because I would love to hear about your business and what you do and how we can tie in solar offerings to some of your customers. So let's chat this week. I'm actually going to be in Miami on Friday or Thursday. So I don't know if you're in the Miami area, but please reach out and let's chat. So. So anyways, 26% federal tax credit. And you may be wondering, well, what does that actually mean? And how do I know if I qualify for it? Well, I will tell you that I'm not a tax accountant or a tax advisor. I know plenty of people that are, and they can help you with that. Yes, let's do it this week. Let's do it. I would be happy to do that. So I'm not a tax accountant or CPA or a tax advisor. But how I read it from the IRS, and I'm not even going to quote it, you can check it out yourself if you just put solar investment tax credit in Google. You can search it up for yourself there. But what it is it's a 26% of the total cost of going solar. What does total cost mean? Total cost. So what's all required to go solar was the title of my of this live stream tonight. And what's required is all dependent upon your building or your property or your home. So for the last 2 years, I've been helping homeowners go solar. Coming up on 2 years, it's kind of crazy. And I just love it so much. Today I went out and drove out to Vacaville to visit a homeowner that I helped go solar. And with everything with COVID and doing everything remotely, everything was done via Zoom or text message or email or phone calls. So I wanted to take a gift out to them this afternoon. And so I drove out to Vacaville. I live over in Marin County in Nevada. And I was, it's about an hour's drive, 45-minute drive. And so I got to meet them and we look at the solar system. Couldn't really see it because it's on second level, but we were just talking about how they are so excited to be saving money on their energy costs. And PG&E, and I don't know if you're in Southern California, Edison, I don't know if they've announced that they're going to raise rates, but we just got notification that the average homeowner, just resident PG&E customer, the average rate increase is going to be $5 more a month, which might not seem like a lot, but that's like minimum. So rates continue to increase, and here we are. It's only the 3rd of January, and we got notification of that. So what's required depends on your home. So for the example, this homeowner that I just helped, they needed a main panel upgrade. So what is a main panel upgrade? Every home has a main source of energy coming into their home from the utility lines. Homes that were built prior to 2000 typically are going to be 100 amps or less. Homes built after 2000, at least here in California, they're going to be 200 amps or more, hopefully. Some of these main panel or main service panels, where you find it, if you're curious to know where your main service panel is at, it's usually outside on the side of the house next to what's your smart meter. It's a round dial. and it has digital numbers, and you can go out and you can read it. If you live in a place that has analog meters, you're not solar ready. So you actually would probably need to have your main, your meter that's read by the, utility company needs to be upgraded to smart meters. A lot more utility companies are putting these in across the nation. So some states aren't ready to go solar yet because they still have the analog meters, but you can order and get that all taken care of if you have an old analog. But for the vast majority, I think, of all California, Nevada, Arizona, Texas, where a lot of solar adoption is happening, Colorado, Utah, a lot of these meters are being switched, analog meters are being switched out to digital ones. And that is so that you are ready for net energy metering. But that service disconnect, the main service line coming into your house, the main power source, is usually next to your smart meter. And it's usually going to be like a flip, kind of looks like a light switch. It's a breaker. And usually it should be labeled service disconnect or main service disconnect. And that's that little breaker. There might be two, there might be one. But they have a little label on there, and it'll say 100. Sometimes the really old ones might say 90. It might be a 125. It could be a 150, or it could be a 200. And for some, I've seen 400 amp service panels on residential homes. So it's really important that if you have an old service panel, we're going to need to upgrade that. And I was just messaging today with somebody who was saying, hey, I'm looking into solar again, but I had someone come out and look at my main service panel to see if I could even go solar. And it looks like I need to upgrade that, and I'm not ready to do that. And I said, well, when you go solar, I can include that in with your solar system and the cost of your solar. And he's like, really? And I said, yeah. And so I told him how much. Typically it's about $2,400 to $2,500. And if your service panel and your service, like the meter, your electric meter is directly above your gas meter, there's a new building. It's not a new building code, but there is a building code that if it needs to be upgraded to a 200 amp or 125 amp service panel, and it's directly above the gas meter, this might be too much information, but I want you guys to know what is required to go solar. That's the whole point of the show today. You have to relocate it 3 feet from the gas exhaust valve from the gas meter. So, and for instance, our house, our gas meter is like literally probably right here on the other side of this wall. And our electric meter is on the other side of our house, on the outside of our garage. And so they're far apart. So we needed a main panel upgrade, but we didn't need to relocate it. And if you need to relocate it, it could be another $500. But again, that is required to go solar. You need to have your service panel upgraded to either be solar ready, or it needs to be upgraded completely from a 100 to a 200 amp main service panel. Just because when you're putting your power source on there, you need to make sure that the service panel is safe and ready and can, it's not an old outdated panel. So that's something that is usually, again, houses built prior to 2000 will usually need a main panel upgrade. But do not fear, because I can include that in your solar system, and we will take care of that for you. And when I say we, meaning I have electricians that oh, my kids, sorry about that. They're getting in fights, and I think my husband went out to the car really fast. So anyways, that is typically what's required. And I have the electricians that are able to come in and do that, because it's all required for getting the solar installed. So you wouldn't be able to go solar without upgrading your panel. So it's really important to find out if you need that. And when people have been working with me remotely, like meaning, they contact me, like say you were wanting to get a solar quote or a proposal for your home. Typically with COVID and depending on your location, and your comfort level, what we would typically do is meet over a Zoom call. And prior to that, we either get on the phone and do something called the discovery call, or I send an email and we do an email exchange. And I ask questions about your home, like what kind of roof do you have? How old is it? If you need a new roof, I have roofing people that can do roofing for you. That can also sometimes can be included in the cost of your solar. I don't want to say the cost of your solar, but can be included with your solar financing should you choose to finance it. So there's all these questions about your roof, and the age and the material type, because that's really important to know. I'll ask questions about your service panel. What is the rating of that panel? Is it 125, 200? And then anything that you might be doing differently, like if you're planning to get an electric car or a hot tub, things like that, or maybe you're going to add a deep freezer, or you're going to add air conditioning because you're thinking about solar and so you want to get air conditioning. It's a great time actually to think about doing all that together at the same time. Or perhaps you're going to get an electric vehicle and start charging it from home. So these are all types of conversations that we have, but the things about like the main service panel, typically I would just ask you, hey, can you take a picture of it and send it to me? And then also your roof too. And that way I can visually see and include that in the cost of your solar proposal so that you can see the full picture of what you're looking at when it comes to your solar proposal. So that's how you would do. So that's where you find it. It's usually going to be outside on your outside of the house. If it's a house that's built like within the last 10 years, sometimes, or even 5 years, sometimes it'll be inside the garage, but typically it's on the outside. Even with brand new construction, I see it on the outside. It's usually on the same wall as the garage near your meter. And you want to take a picture of the meter, the round dial, and then the panel that has the little switch that says main service disconnect. And sometimes you might see a whole entire, if you have an older home, you'll see an entire bank of breakers, which is your sub panel as well. And the main service disconnect can be also included in that. So you take a picture of it all. So that is one of the requirements. The other requirement might be that you might need a partial re-roof, or you might have an older roof. And I have someone right now that they really want solar and they really need a new roof. Like they need a new roof, but they use such little energy that there's a certain like ratio that you can go with solar lending that allows like 35% of the cost of the loan to be covered, covering the roofing. Well, the cost of the roof and the cost of their solar is pretty equal. So I can't cover the entire roof. I can cover a part of it, but not all of it. So sometimes you need it, like a site survey will really determine the condition of your roof and, the ability to install on your roof, the condition based on the condition. So it's really important to figure out how old is your roof? Do you need a new roof? What kind of material? Because there's different, if you have like a metal roof or a tile roof, sometimes there's an extra cost to that just because of the different kinds of material that are used to install the mounting equipment to then put the panels on top of the mounting system. So things like that are really important to know about your home. So these are the kinds of things that are required to know about your home. The other thing that's really important is if you live in an HOA, so like a homeowner, you're in a community and there's a homeowners association, oftentimes you need permission from them to make sure you can go solar. Here's the thing though about HOAs. They, by law, cannot prevent a homeowner from going solar. They may say, they can't be on the street facing, it can't be street facing, like we can't allow that. I would challenge you to go back and say, hey, if you make me go on the other side, which would be like a north or a northeast or northwest would not be optimal, but if they make you go to the north and it makes your system grow or expand, or it has to be larger because they don't want residents or people driving through and seeing a solar system, and it increases the cost of your solar by at least 10%, then you can say, nope, I have to bring them to the front. They can't prevent you from going solar. But a lot of times the homeowners associations, they want to know what kind of panel, what's the color of the panels, the color of the conduit. The conduit is what runs all the power that's generated from the solar panels to the electrical box, the service panel, and into the inverter and everything. Sometimes they'll require you to paint that conduit to match the color of the roof. And so if that's required, then we would take care of that for you. So those, if you have an HOA, oftentimes they require a schematic or a design to be presented to them so that they can sign it off, and they make sure that, they just want to be included and involved. And sometimes they'll ask you, have the neighbors make sure that they're okay with it. So every HOA is a little bit different, but that's sometimes what is required to go solar. So really, it's really, really simple. The other thing that I would throw in there is sometimes people have trees like growing up and causing shading on their house. And if they just trim the trees back and maintain that tree trim level, because that's also that's in the solar agreement, that if you have trees that are trimmed back and it could impede or disrupt the production of the solar energy because shading, that cost can also be included in your solar proposal too. If the trees that are on your property or near your roof line need to be trimmed back, and you're thinking, oh gosh, this is going to cost me $1,000. I just don't want to deal with. I don't want to spend that much money. But in the long run, if you didn't go solar, you're going to pay more for your electricity, because that's the case for every homeowner in California for the most part. That might be required to trim the trees back, and that cost can be also included in your solar financing. And the reason why I say all this, that it could be included into your financing, is because going back to that 26% federal tax credit, anything that is required to go solar or necessary to have happen to go solar can be included in the cost of, can be included in that 26% federal tax credit. So the costs associated with going solar, if you need a new roof, if you need a main panel upgrade, if you need tree trimming, things like that. If you need to replace your entire roof, that can't be included. There's certain things, if you want an attic fan, you can't claim that on the because it's not required to go solar. But a lot of people tend to do these things at the time of going solar and getting their house prepared, because why not do it all at one time? So that's why I say these extra little costs, if you want a backup battery for your home, that can be included that would be included in solar financing. And then also that would be included in the 26% federal tax credit. So there's a lot of benefits of going solar, and getting these things taken care of for your home. When you go solar, like getting the main panel upgraded, if you need to re-roof, if you're I don't like the aesthetics, I don't like the color of the shingles, but your roof is 10 years old. I mean, unless you want I don't know that the IRS would come out and say, you really you don't qualify. I don't think they're going to do that. But for the most part, we're going to tell you whether or not your roof is in good condition or not. And usually I'd say if you know that you have 5 to 7 years left on your roof, you might want to consider reshingling the area of the house where the solar panels are going to go on anyways, because why put panels on an old roof that you're going to have to reshingle at some point in time near the future? Sorry, if you have 5 to 7 years, I would just go ahead and get it re-roofed. If you have 10 or 7 to 15 years left on your roof, I think I would be okay with that, because the panels actually protect the shingles. There's a guy that lives in our neighborhood. They bought the house after, for whatever reason, they switched the location of the panels. But the panels were on one part of the house, and it's interesting because where the panels were at, the shingles are much darker and in better condition than the rest of the roof, where the outline of the solar panels. And that's because the panels protect your roof. They're absorbing all that UV rays and the UVB rays and everything. And they don't get destroyed by them, but the shingles do. The shingles get destroyed by UV rays and by elements from the weather. So the panels actually benefit your roof. They make the roof last longer, and they also create this like radiant barrier, so your house isn't going to it's not going to be as hot or in the summertime when you have an array of solar panels on your roof. So sometimes if people, they're on the south side and their living space, the main living room is on the south side, I'll sometimes position them, if they don't care where they go in particular, and it's not going to affect their production, I'll put it over the main living area so that in the summertime, that room stays just a tad bit cooler than if they hadn't. So how do panels hold up in heavy hail? That's an excellent question, Lewis. They handle nicely. Here, I'll keep the question up there. We install solar panels in states such as Colorado, Texas, Utah, North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, up the eastern seaboard. Illinois, and I believe Indiana are some other locations that I can have solar installed. And of course, for commercial and commercial solar, industrial, it's across the country. These panels go through it's kind of like a stress test, like an airplane engine. And I'm only bringing that up because this actually came up before. I used to work at Boeing, and for engine flight tests, they would huck chickens for bird strikes, because bird strikes, if an engine gets a bird strike, it could damage the engine, and that's not good. So it's the same things that engine manufacturers go through for bird strike testing. The solar panel manufacturers go through hail testing, and they can withstand a lot of damage, or not damage, a lot of hail, and it's not going to be damaged. They are tempered. The top layer is made out of tempered glass, and the hail, it would have to be like massive hail balls and like ton of them pounding, like just pounding before you would start to see damage. But I have a friend who worked for Panasonic, and he said that they would go through extensive testing. And I know all the major tier 1, which are like the major reputable, good warranted solar panel manufacturers, go through extensive testing for hail. And there are some that are better rated for hurricane force winds and stuff like that. And a lot of times that's going to come down to also the kind of mounting hardware that's attached and affixed to your home. So they handle well under hail, and same with snow. If you get a heavy snowfall, say you get lake effect snow and you live in the Northeast, or Colorado gets hit by a winter storm, it's going to slide off the panels, and also it's going to basically kind of heat up and melt as the sun, kind of comes out after the storm. The panels are going to generate just enough heat, not like burning heat, but just enough heat that it's going to start melting, and the snow will slide off of the panels. So I was doing a little bit of research on that, because people get solar panels and in places where it snows. So that's just something about the panels. So all of this can be included, the main service panel, the roofing, tree trimming, batteries, things like that can be all included in the solar financing. And so some of you might be wondering, well, how do I get solar financing? Well, how you get solar financing is if you decide, it's kind of like buying a car. Do you want to pay cash, or do you want to finance it? Some people want to pay cash. And I say, okay, great. You can pay cash. If you wanted to get solar and you want to pay cash for it, the down or the deposit or the down payments at $1,000 is typically what you're going to pay out of pocket for the, just to get everything started. As soon as you sign, you go over your agreement with, hopefully it's me as your solar advisor, solar consultant. You're going to, either write a check or do a ACH to the solar company, and you're going to get started, which means you're going to get a solar site survey out, and they're going to get on your roof. They're going to take pictures. They're going to take measurements. They're going to find out where the like little vents and everything are at on your roof, areas to avoid. There are also fire setbacks. So 18 inches from any edge of the roof and the ridge line. They got to do that for fire safety if there is ever, a house fire. And for some reason, there have been several house fires in our town, a lot of them having to do with chimneys not being well maintained. So if you burn wood in your fireplace, please make sure. And I know Charles Coachman, he is a real estate agent. Sometimes he watches my show, and he's also getting solar for his home. He has been stressing the importance of getting your chimneys clean. And I know Jerry Eisenhower, another person who actually has a chimney business, talks about maintaining and keeping your fireplace, your chimney clean. So please, it's because we're in the wintertime. Make sure your chimney is cleaned if you use your fireplace as a source of heat, which is smart if you do, because it's better than paying for, especially with the weather, because it's been raining. So I'm not too worried about smoke and the air quality. Anyways, fire setbacks are important. So, at the site survey, they're going to do that. So if you pay cash, you're going to pay $1,000 out of pocket to do that. And then as soon as you get forward momentum and you're getting ready to order the supplies to install your system, then 80% is usually due. 55 to 80% is due. And then the rest is due after it's all installed. And speak of, I don't want to say devil, but look, there's Charles. Good evening, Charles, our one and only solar queen. I hope you're having a happy new year. I sent you an email. I hope you got it. Send me an email back and let me know if you got that email. We're still waiting on permits. San Jose is, they take a long time for permitting, is what I'm learning. So anyways, what I was saying is, then when everything's installed and final inspection has happened, that's when you pay the balance due. And then we wait for permission to operate from PG&E. Now I'm going to talk about permission to operate for a second. And then I'm going to talk about the financing. And I know this show is going really long, and I appreciate every one of you who are watching this. And if you're watching this and you think this is valuable information to your neighbors or your friends that are thinking about solar, please share this. And then I'm going to share my email address that you guys can share and reach out to me for solar, which is jamie@jamiegreenthesolarqueen.com. That's for residential. If you are a business owner or a business owner who's interested in solar for their business, warehouse, farm, vineyard, anything like that, any commercial or industrial type business, they can reach out at jamie@excelsiorsolar.com. Here you go, and I'll put that up to you. I'll scroll that along the bottom. Let's see. Look at that. Isn't that cool? Thank you for sharing this out, Charles. I appreciate it. So let's go. Let me talk a little bit about permission to operate, because I do have homeowners who are still waiting for permission to operate, even though everything has been installed and completed and passed final inspection. Solar companies are not in control or cannot expedite or speed up permission to operate. And what permission to operate is the utility company, which is for my area is PG&E. They get all the applications and they do everything, and you get into a queue, and they are the ones who determine when you get permission to operate. I've seen it as soon as the next day, and I think those people are lucky ducks, and it's almost like winning the lottery. It's not very frequent, but I want to mention I have seen it happen before. But for the vast majority, it's a 3 to 6, maybe 7 week waiting process. So it can take time. And so it's something that is beyond we do everything that we can to, we do submit all the NEM paperwork, which is net energy metering agreement and paperwork to the utility company. And then they're the ones that grant it. So we are, that's out of our jurisdiction, but it's a part of the process. And once you do get permission to operate, then that means you can turn your system on, and you'll start producing energy, and you can download an app which my phone is on the other side of my computer, but you can download a monitoring app and you can monitor your production. So when I went out to Vacaville today to check on my homeowner who just got solar and just got PTO'd, and he had some questions about monitoring, and got it all set up, and now it works, and he's monitoring, and they're having fun checking in on their solar production every day. So it's really important to know that there's different steps in the journey of getting solar that are, like cities. We can't control we can't make them go faster in permitting. It really stinks. Those are things that are beyond our control. Same with the utility company for main panel upgrades. The main panel upgrade needs to happen around the same time that solar is installed. We try and do it so that the solar panels and the main panel upgrade happens on the same day. If it is like, a beautiful meeting in the middle and it all happens. Some people are like, no, I want this main panel upgraded before my solar gets installed because I want to make sure that I don't want to be waiting for my main panel upgrade to happen after I get my solar panels, because I'll be because something psychologically happens when people get the solar panels on the rooftop. They're like, I'm so excited I have my solar panels on my rooftop, and they're just waiting to produce energy for you. They're just like, turn me on. And I hope that was entertaining to you guys. They just want, it's like, the potential is there, and you just want it to hurry up and get going. And it's so funny because we have been so conditioned or so used to paying our utility bill every single month, because that's before was our only option, or the only thing that we thought we could do until you get solar. And then when you make that decision to go solar, it's like, I can't get solar fast enough. So I understand the excitement. We went through the whole same thing when we got our solar installed. Okay, so my wife will have a blast monitoring everything. Yeah, it's really fun. I like to look at my monitoring, and you do want to check it. You want to check it. You don't have to check it on a daily basis, but you at least want to check your monitoring on a weekly basis, and just making sure that the communication is still working between. I don't want to say still working, that the communication that it's, because you can lose connection between your inverter. Communication with the inverter company that's monitoring everything. So you do want to make sure, because that has happened one time before for a customer of mine who they thought their solar system wasn't working anymore, but what ended up happening was the inverter lost communication with the inverter company. So the way it works is these inverters have Wi-Fi communication in them, and that will allow for us to monitor our systems. And it's kind of cool how that works. So again, for resident, you can email. I get these emails no matter what. You can just say residential or commercial. You can email me there. So jamie@jamiegreenthesolarqueen.com, or if you're watching on Facebook or Instagram later on, you can DM me. And if you want, you can reach out to me this way. And then for the commercial, if you're a business owner and you have a building, or even, so here's the thing with commercial, it's 20 years. Like if you're leasing it, you can, leasing a building for at least 20 years, you can talk with your landlord, and we can talk about getting solar on your leased building. So that's kind of cool too. So that's how you can reach out to me. So let me go back really quickly here. I'll just kind of keep that up there. Let me go back quickly to how the financing works, because I went over the cash. The cash is $1,000 down to get started and everything. For a financing, $0 is required out of pocket to get solar. So if you qualify for financing, you can get started with solar for nothing out of your pocket. And it's like I said, it's like buying cars. Either you're going to pay cash or you're going to finance it. If you finance it, you're going to pay a little bit more for the overall system because of the cost of financing. But I'm seeing the loan rates right now are 2.99. I have access to 1.99, 1.49. I'm starting to see 0.99, which is really crazy. But just like a mortgage, the lower you go in interest, you're going to have, the loan will be more expensive. The higher you go in interest, the less expensive it is. The standard seems to be 2.99. anywhere between a 20-year and a 25-year loan. And the 25-year loan is going to it's going to give you the lowest monthly payment, which is kind of cool. If you don't want to outright buy the solar system, and finance it, you can lease it, or you can do a power purchase agreement. And the difference between a lease and a power purchase agreement, a lease is where you're going to lease the solar system, just like you would be buying it. You're going to lease it. The difference is you're going to lock in a rate, and there's usually some escalators in there, sometimes not. And the escalator might be a 3% increase every month, but you're leasing the equipment. The the lessor is going to maintain the system, and you don't have to worry about it. But oftentimes they're going to be 20-year leases. But right now I'm getting all trained up and getting ready to be able to offer month-to-month leases, which might be kind of crazy. I know Tesla's doing that model, but if you want to lease it and you just don't want to take out a big loan to finance it, you can lease it. So that's the difference between, and you can do a 20-year lease or you can do a month-to-month lease. For people who know that they're going to be in their house for 5 years or 7 years, a month-to-month lease might be a good option. If that's something you're interested in, just send me an email, say, hey, I want to learn the difference between leasing a system. I actually have somebody that's interested in that because their 10-year lease is coming up due. They don't think they're going to be in their house for longer than 5-7 years, and they do want to lease, and they want the month to month. So I'm like, okay, you ask and you shall receive, and I will give you what you want. So that's a really exciting thing. So that's the difference between the purchase and the lease. The thing with the lease is, they say that they're going to bake in the 26% federal tax credit, but the truth is, for any lease or PPAs, the lessor and the owner of the solar system is the one that actually gets the tax credit. So that's kind of one of those things, the benefits of buying, is you get the tax credit. Now, a power purchase agreement, which is a PPA, you don't own the system. You're not really leasing the system. The solar company is going to come and put the system on your house. And just like you're doing now, you're paying the utility company for your energy. You are going to be buying the energy that's being produced by the solar system that's on your rooftop at a fixed starting rate. And it's going to usually be less than what the utility company is charging you, but it's going to be more than what you would pay if you're leasing it, or maybe not so much more than what you're leasing it at, but you're going to be paying a little bit more per kilowatt hour than you would be if you were buying it. So a power purchase agreement is just really, truly, truly only paying for the kilowatt hour that system is producing for you. And anything that you use beyond what that system can produce, you're going to buy that energy from the utility company, or not. You're just going to pay for the extra energy that you need to the utility company. Is this going to be the same thing for a lease or a purchase? So you want to make sure you get your system sized properly, and we go over exactly all the energy needs you have. If you have plans to get a hot tub, because believe it or not, that's going to add between 200 to 350 kilowatt hours more a month, depending on the size and how much, how energy efficient those hot tubs are. And same with any appliance in your house. Like if you're going to get a second fridge for that garage or a deep freezer, it's going to add, you're going to see an increase in your usage. And if you're not solar powered, you're going to see your bill go up dramatically, especially if you're still on that tiered system. If you're on time of use, you're just going to be paying more anyways, because everyone's paying more on time of use. So going back to the financing, it's $0 out of pocket. Everything gets taken care of for you. Same thing with the cash. We take care of the site survey, the permitting, the main panel upgrade if necessary. We can work on the roofing situation if you have a roofer, or if you want us to get you a bid and include that in there. And then we take care of all the engineered designs. We take care of the installation. We take care of scheduling the final inspection. We take care of scheduling a main panel upgrade. I think I just said that. And then we take care of all the paperwork necessary for permission to operate from the utility company. If you have an HOA, we will take care of providing what your HOA needs, but that's a little bit on you of what you need to find out what your HOA needs. But really, you just need to be present for the site survey and then for installation. And that's really it. It's really, really, I make it sound simple, but as far as you're concerned, there's not much that you really need to be worried about, except for the only thing I ask for is patience. Because like I said, once people get those solar panels on the rooftop or they're very close, they're just waiting. And right now we are having weather. And so, installations will be delayed for people that are getting installed probably this week if the weather doesn't cooperate. So that's just, the kind of the general process. And then once your solar panels and main panel upgrade is installed, approximately 60 days, 45 to 60 days after that is when you will start getting your first monthly bill that you're going to pay to the lender, the financing company. And what happens with that 26% federal tax credit? The first 18 months is factoring in the fact that you're going to get that 26% federal tax credit. If you decide, and the lending companies are going to give you 18 months to collect that tax credit from the IRS. No one can make you put that towards your solar loan. So you can keep it and pay for something else if you want, or you can take it and pay it to the lender. And if you do that, if you take the full tax credit, the 26% federal tax credit, and that's for the cost of your everything for your system, you will keep that lower monthly fixed payment that you pay for the first 18 months. It's going to stay that way for the rest of the life of the loan. And so that's pretty awesome. What I'm seeing is people are getting solar installed and even batteries and main panel upgrades done. And even if they were to keep the tax credit, they're still going to have a lesser expensive or bill swap solar payment than their PG&E bill, their average PG&E bill. So it's, you kind of have to look at it like that. And it all depends on how you are how you do your finances. We didn't take our tax credit and put it towards our solar loan. So it reamortized at month 19. But for us, we use so little energy. Our solar system is less than 4 kilowatts. And we just, our monthly payment went from $50 to $80. So it wasn't a huge change. But if you're talking a couple $100, that might be a little different scenario. And I do encourage homeowners to take their tax credit and apply it towards their solar lender or the solar loan so that they can keep that fixed lower payment. So that's kind of what I wanted to talk about. I went a little bit longer than I was planning, but if you have any questions regarding solar and you're just curious, because I know it's a lot of information what I shared tonight, but I promise you, I try my hardest to make it very simple and seamless to you guys as the homeowner or business owner. And you just let us take care of the rest, like all the behind the scenes stuff. I want to help you go solar, especially if you're in California. The rates for utility is so expensive and it's going up. It's at some point in time, you're going to get annoyed and frustrated, or maybe you've heard me talk about this so much. You're like, okay, Jamie, I'm just going to email you and talk to you about what it takes, how much solar, what do we need to do? So if you're interested in starting that conversation, you can email me at jamie@jamiegreenthesolarqueen.com. If you're comfortable sending me a copy of your utility bill and including, the information of, what kind of service panel do you have and how old your roof is, things like that, we can start the conversation. I can get you a solar proposal and we can get you going, because I don't want you guys to wait until May or June when everyone is going to be looking into solar because summer is coming. If you wait that long, you will miss the summer opportunity to catch all that beautiful energy that your solar system, if it was installed in May, will be generating for you throughout the summer. So, time just keeps marching on. And even though we just got the 26% federal tax credit extended for 2 more years, I can tell you 2 years as we all know, we get busy and it's not like something that we're always thinking about, but I don't want you guys to miss out on it. I don't want you to wait till the very last minute. I want you to start saving money. I mean, I would say for me, the average savings that I'm helping homeowners save in California is 40%. And that's just straight out of the gate, like 40% average, 40% off of their monthly utility costs, average monthly utility bill. So that's significant. And if that adds up, I mean, that adds up over the year. Like, what could an extra $600 do for your family right now? I mean, that's if you're, that's for a pretty small system. Again, it's all depends on your house size and your energy usage and how you use energy. But imagine what that extra money could do for you. Like, I don't know. That was what our annual savings, I think annual savings was. And that's just at today's utility rates. Rates continue to go up, and they're on average in California for the last couple of years has been 8% compounding. So that means they're going to go up 8% this year. They went up 8% last year. Now it's all starting new, and it's going to, we just got the notice. So, and that's going to then compound and it's just, you're going to start feeling it. And so why go through that pain of going through another month of paying expensive electricity when you can own your solar system, your own power supply on your roof? That's an asset and it's going to help you when that solar system is paid off. It's basically free energy for your home. You pay a monthly connectivity fee to the utility company. And if your system, as the rates go up, so do the savings. It's just going to be a bigger gap of what you're going to be saving. So I'm excited to help you guys and your neighbors and your friends. And if you're a business, I know some of you might be business owners. I would love to help you there too. So please reach out, Jamie@JamieGreenTheSolarQueen.com. Share this out with anybody you might know. And I hope you all have a great Sunday. Next Sunday, I'm going to be doing my show from my hotel room in Miami, but I will still be here on Sunday night. So if you have questions that you want me to answer about solar and the solar process, please let me know and I'll cover that in the show next week. But until then, have a wonderful Sunday and we'll see you guys next week.